Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 256 of the Rotten Views podcast. Thank you, everyone, for showing up to another new episode. If you're a new listener, thank you for picking this movie as your first episode of the Rotten Views podcast. Hopefully, you guys will stick around and check out the back catalog of all the other different movies that we have. We don't just watch action movies, we also do horror movies, comedies, and a little bit of everything. I think I even have a couple animated movies, but I might be a little bit foggy on that one. I might have thought about doing some animated movies and might have forgot to actually do them, or it might have been like extra content and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's hard to keep track of every single movie, seeing there's over 250 episodes. It's been a fun journey and I look forward to doing another 200 episodes. At least. Who knows? Who knows how much? So hopefully you guys will enjoy this episode, and thank you very much for showing up. If you guys are returning listeners, thank you for showing up each and every single week. I see you guys. I see the algorithm. I see the logistics, the stats, whatever you might want to call it. I see you guys. I see the numbers going up, and I appreciate it so much. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping like we like to do each and every single week.
Housekeeping?
I think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
As always, if you want to help out the podcast, feel free to share it. Sharing the podcast helps out a lot, so just share it on your Instagram, your Facebook, your X account, your Threads account, whatever it might be. If you want to, make sure to leave a star review. Feel free to leave us, 5-star if you feel so kindly to do so. If not, that's fine. I understand. If you want to leave a 1-star, we'll play some Mortal Kombat on the PlayStation 1, a little 1v1 tournament. I'll probably lose if you know how to play the game, because I haven't played that game in a long ass time. So it is understandable if I lose, and feel bad for me if I do, and just maybe you give me a pity 5-star. I'm kidding. But if you guys could, at the end of the day, if you have a few seconds of time, just hit the share button on whatever platform you're listening on. It helps out a lot. That goes for any of the content that I do, from the podcast to the YouTube videos to the artwork. So if you want to keep in touch with all the stuff that I do, make sure to follow all my social media links down below in the description. At Typhonstein, you can find me on pretty much every website there is possible, because I'm just a whore trying to whore myself out so you guys like my content. But we're on Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, whatever it might be. If you guys are looking for hours upon hours of free content, make sure to check out the YouTube channel. I do daily shorts over there. I have a lunchbox art surprise series that I do for my daughter, so I post, it's a different drawing that I sneak into her lunchbox if she's going to camp or if she's going to school, whatever it might be. Wherever she's going for the day, I sneak a drawing in. We also have the weekly gaming video that drops every single Wednesday. I have old episodes of the podcast that drop every single Monday as well. You're going to want to like and subscribe to that as well, and turn on the bell notifications. That way you get notified, because guess what? I also do live streams over there as well, so you can check me out playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Killer Clans from Outer Space, or GTA 3, GTA Online, Fortnite, because, as the this episode of the podcast is being recorded, the new season of Fortnite is out, and they've added Power Rangers in at the 100 stage. So, we're going to be grinding for that, because I'm a 90s kid, and I grew up loving the Power Rangers. I still enjoy the Power Rangers, because I love looking at those bad monster costumes. I love anything that looks cheesy, because you would know that if you're a returning listener, because you've seen some of the movies I've talked about. So, as always, though, there's also something else you can also check out for content-wise. We have a wrestling promotion that we're working on, CWC, Canadian Wrestling Championship. Go find the Facebook page or the Instagram page. The links are down below as well, where I do weekly wrestling content, more on the Instagram side of things, because that's a little bit easier. It seems to be growing a little bit faster. We're averaging, a couple thousand views here and there. So, go check that out as well. We'll have more news for that coming out soon. We've hit a few roadblocks here and there, but it's fine. It's a new project, so it's just something else to consume our time with. So hopefully you guys will check that out as well. But like I said earlier, if you want to help out with anything, just feel free to hit that share button, because that does help out a lot. We're just trying to get the podcast, the artwork, the YouTube videos, all that fun stuff out to more eyes and ears and whatever other object that you might listen or see with. Maybe at some point in time we'll make an audiobook or braille. I don't know where we're going with this. I'm going to stop because I was trying to be funny. I think it just failed. So we'll get on to the podcast at hand. You guys are here to listen to me talk about Speedtrap from 1977. It's a PG movie. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 53 minutes. It's car action, crime, drama is the descriptions from IMDb. The description as read on IMDb: a PI tackles a string of mysterious car thefts. Aided by his cop ex-girlfriend, facing resistance from the police chief, he navigates a complex web of clues, physics, and mobsters to crack the case and unmask the elusive thief. This movie has a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 3.2 out of 5 on Amazon.ca. Apparently 79% of Google users have liked this movie. This movie was initially released on April 21st, 1977, and is directed by Earl Bellamy. I don't know if I said that name right or not, but we're going to jump right into the point in the podcast where we talk about the director, the writers, and a couple of the stars. First one we're going to talk about, like we do every week, is the director. Like I said, Earl Bellamy is his name. He was the second unit or assistant director for 1953's From Here to Eternity. He was the director for 14 episodes from 1966 to 1968 of I Spy. As well, he was the director for 4 episodes from 1955 of Jungle Gym. As well, he was the assistant director for 1950's In a Lonely Place. This movie has 3 writers tied to it. The first one we're going to talk about is Fred Mintz, who has only done Speedtrap, so that was quick and easy. The next one we're going to talk about is Henry C. Park. He was the writer, of course, for Speedtrap, as well as the writer for 1984's Double Cross. As well, he played the character Self, I'm assuming himself, in Best Served Cold, How a Revenge Film. The title is too long when you actually gotta click on it. Best Served Cold, How a Revenge Film Was Buried for Decades. It's a documentary about making of The Farmer from 1977 and other returning veteran films of the 1970s. Interesting. I might have to add that to the list and see what that's actually about. I like documentaries every now and then. Hopefully you guys do too. I don't know how I would discuss a documentary on the podcast. Maybe I can make it like a short video or something about it. I don't know. We'll see. And the last writer for this one is Stuart A. Seagal, who only worked on this movie. So it's odd that there's so many writers that just worked on one and the other one just worked on 3 movies in total. So we usually don't see that being the case too often. But now we're going to jump over to the cast section. We're going to talk about a couple of the cast members. The first one that's got first billing is we're going to talk about John Don Baker, who's playing the character of Pete Novick. You probably know John from GoldenEye from 1995, where he played Jack Wade. He was also in 1995's Congo playing R.B. Travis. He was also playing Claude Kursek in 1991's Cape Fear. In 1996, he was Glenn Norris in Mars Attacks. In 1983, he was Joseph Rudder in Joysticks. As well, in 1985, he was Chief Carlin in Fletch. That's a great Chevy Chase movie. If you guys don't know that one, you should definitely check that one out. And the next person we're going to talk on the cast list is Tyne Daly, or Dowley. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. She's playing Nifty Nolan. She was best known for being Mary Beth Lacey from 1981 to 1988 for 126 episodes of Kangi and Lacey. She was also in 138 episodes from 1999 to 2005 of Judging Amy, as well as she plays Anne Marie Hogue in 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming, as well as Kate Moore in 1976 The Enforcer. Has anyone ever watched Judging Amy that listens to the podcast? I don't know anything. I've recalled the title of it, but I've never actually watched it. So let me know down in the comments below or at me on whatever social media platform. Let me know what your thoughts were on it. What I would love to do at some point in time, I'm not sure where the time will be, but I want to pick a TV show and actually do episodes. Short episodes on each single episode. I think that would be fun content. It's just finding the time. But actually at the end of August here, I have a week off with my daughter. So in the meantime, I might try and brainstorm a bunch of content to record during then. Because I don't need sleep. I don't need sleep at all. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can make something of it. Anyways, back to the podcast episode at hand. The tagline for this movie is Crazy for Speed and Driving for Revenge. Apparently there's some trivia. Was released in Japan under the title Gone in 60 Seconds 2 as a sequel to Gone in 60 Seconds 1974, even though none of its characters reprise their roles, though both films share the same plot elements. And also, if you guys didn't know, there's a Gone in 60 Seconds that doesn't have Nicolas Cage in it. That's Nicolas Cage movie is actually a remake of the 1974 movie. I didn't know that. I've actually watched the 1974 one probably last year on Tubi. It's a very interesting movie, and I would recommend checking it out. It's got a lot of car fun in it for the time period. It's pretty amazing to see the stuff they do in 1974 with these vehicles, and there's no, CGI or anything, so it's all practical shit, pretty cool. I definitely recommend checking it out. But with that being said, let's get started on the podcast episode at hand. This movie is from 1977, but I'm going to let you know now. If you're a new listener, I talk about the movie from start to finish and hit all the points in between that interest me. So that means each and every single episode of the Rotten Views podcast is spoiler heavy. So if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1977, feel free to go pause this. Go watch it on Tubi. Come back and listen to me talk about it. Or just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about it, and I'll either make you want to see the movie or you'll be okay skipping it. I leave that to you to decide at the end of this episode. That's your judgment call, not mine. But with that being said, if you're at home, hopefully you get comfy, get some snacks, whatever it might be. If you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. And as I know most of you do, listening in the car, just keep your eyes on the road and get to where you're going. And with that being said, let's get started on the movie at hand right now.
The police are baffled, desperate, confused. They need help. From Pete Novick, Private Eye. They're all after the Roadrunner, a car thief who's already stolen over a dozen cars and turned the streets into a demolition derby. Who is the Roadrunner, and can they catch him in a speed trap? Speed Trap, starring Joe Don Baker and Tyne Daly. Speed Trap, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Someone is stealing the most expensive cars in town. Someone who can open any car door, start any engine with just the flick of a switch on a little black box. Someone who can drive like crazy. The police call him the Roadrunner. Who is the Roadrunner? And can Pete Novick stop him before he strikes again? Speed Trap, starring Joe Don Baker and Tyne Daly. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
So we are watching this one on Tubi. I will say the quality of it, you can tell it's a VHS rip, but that's okay. We see this garage door opening up. We see this old classic Interceptor car. And, it's got some pretty good music going to it, and it definitely gives you a feel of what you're getting into. And then we see Speed Trap appear on the side of the car door. It's got that classic, racing style font to it. And we see the guy getting in the car. He's got his gloves on. He's got shades on. He's meant for business. You hear this car starting up. He's got a bunch of buttons on the dash. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just set up like a race car or not. But he gets ready to turn on. And then we just hear these girls' voices just as the music's playing being like, watch out. Next thing we know, we see that car racing down the side road, and there's a cop car chasing after it, and we see inside the cop car, and the cop is wearing like this military style looking helmet, like he's supposed to be like a bicycle cop or something. I've never seen a cop actually wearing this kind of helmet. I'm assuming he's probably going to get a car accident. It's just, a safety precaution. And then the guy races by this van that's on the side of the road, and the girl's like, what's happening? The guy's like, I don't really know, but I want to see that cop catch that son of a bitch. Let's go. Then we see the guy crash through this like barricade, and they're going down this long, what might be a bridge, I'm not really too sure, but now the cop car and the interceptor are side by side and just like crushing each other all the way down the road. But then the interceptor just rams the cop car, and we see the cop car break through the bridge and come crashing down below. And actually, for a 70s car movie, we don't actually see the cop car blow up. It might be a budget issue, I'm not really too sure. But also the interceptor is also right side, it's a foreigner style car, which I thought was interesting. I didn't really pick up until the cop was actually ramming at him. But then we just see the cop car laying on its roof, and there is a fire now, so at least there's a little bit of budget for flames. And then we see the van finally showing up, being like, oh well, I wonder what happened to the cop down there, I hope he's okay. Buddy from the van gets down to the cop car and drags the cop out just in time for the police car to blow up. So that's nice. Some of these car movies you see nowadays, as soon as the car goes off the ledge, you see the damn thing blow up. So it's nice. It seems a little bit more realistic that the car is not just going to blow up on the first impact of something. So now we see Captain Hogan, who's being harassed by a bunch of reporters, being like, we'll catch the guy at some point in time. You guys go do something else, all right? And then one of the other police officers, I think his name was Flank, I can't really read the name tag. He's like, yeah, such and such almost bought the farm. The Sidewinder guy just rammed him off the bridge, and he almost died. And then we see Captain Hogan being pretty much harassed by like the police chief or the higher up. He's like, yeah, I know, don't worry. The mayor's all pissed off. We haven't found the Roadrunner yet. It's kind of hard. He doesn't leave any clues. But we kind of got a little bit of a clue today from the accident. So then this police chief guy's like, well, Captain Hogan, you're going to get a little bit of help. There's 5 or 6 different insurance agencies here that kind of spooled their money together to get a PI. And it's going to be Novik. And Hogan doesn't really seem too happy about it. And then we see Novik showing up. He's got kind of looks like he's got the Scarface jacket on. Not going to lie. Anyways, we see Novik just speeding through town, and one of the officers is getting ready to get in his car and be like, oh, that guy's driving a lot faster than he should be. And he's driving this red car. It almost looks like the Starsky and Hutch car, almost. Similar. It's got it's a red car with a white decal going down the side of it. Looks like a pretty nice car. I've only seen the taillights, though. It might be a Dodge. I'm not really too sure. Think it might be a Cuda, but I could be wrong. Anyways, Novak's a crazy man because he's driving on incoming traffic, just speeding through, and the cops chasing after him, being like, oh man, this guy's he's really something else. I also forgot to mention, this whole time this car chase is happening, Novak has his own theme music playing in the background with a bunch of ladies just singing his song for him. So then Novak races to the police station, parks in the commissioner parking spot. The cop shows up. He's like, oh, so you're the new commissioner? He's like, no, PI. So he hands him a card. He accidentally hands the cop this Burger Pit Delight card. Be like, sorry, buddy, wrong card. So then the officer arrests him on spot. Be like, hey, man, you don't know what's going on right now. Come on. And then we see him being brought into Hogan's office in handcuffs. And also Hogan is letting Novik know that he apparently has now 73 different tickets because he never pays his tickets and because he's a madman. So then we have Hogan showing Novik this map that has black dots on it. This is where the similarities to Gone in 60 Seconds come in, because each black dot represents a different car that this Roadrunner guy has stolen. So then Hogan's like, you know what, Novak, I'm going to give you the best officer on the force to help you out. The best that we got to make this work. And then he meets the best officer, which is Nifty Nolan. And they start laughing at each other because, well, they know each other. And Hogan's like, so clearly you guys know each other. And Novik's like, yeah, we did some chop sucky classes in San Fran. And she's also a pretty decent disco dancer on the side. And Hogan's like, that wasn't on your resume when you applied for the job, Nifty. And Nifty's trying to show Novak around the police station a little bit. And we find out that, she stood him up because she had some business to do. Her dad was sick and probably passing on. And Novak wants to get touchy-feely in the police station. And she's trying to kind of laugh him off. It's nothing important, but I want to mention that they're leaving the police station. Nifty gets on her police bike, I guess. And it's pretty much just a dirt bike. I'm not sure if that's the kind of bikes they used back then in the day, but it looks kind of cool. So then we see Novak driving. He's on the CB radio talking to one of his buddies that runs a garage. The guy at the garage is like, why don't you try Harry's sister? She's some kind of magician or psychic or whatever you call it. She might know something you don't know. And then we see the Roadrunner guy or Sidewire, whatever the hell his name is, stealing another car with his fancy radio program that he adds into it. And he's stealing like this Mustang Fastback. And it's in an open parking lot. He goes to speed away and smashes into another person that's literally just trying to leave the parking lot. So I'm like, I'm not sure how good of a driver you are. But then he's coming around a corner again. There's this construction crew that are putting down pylons. The guy's sitting in the back of the truck. It's interesting to see how they used to do things back in the day. Anyways, he's coming around this corner. This well-known driver, apparently, or at least they think he's a really good driver, just whips it around the corner and goes head-on into the truck, puts it in reverse, and then drives away. But the whole front of the Mustang is destroyed at this point in time. So clearly, the cars he's stealing, he doesn't care if he gets them back in one piece or not. And then as the cop is chasing down the guy in the Mustang, he's radioing for backup, and they're a little bit confused, and then the cop's like, you're right here. And then both cop cars literally crash into each other and wreck each other. And then you see the Mustang just driving off. But don't worry, he drives by an actual police officer on an actual police bike. It looks 100% official, but I'm not sure what the guy on the bike's going to do other than tail him for a bit. So then we see this blonde lady who's very busty, who's learning how to drive. Anyways, the driving instructor is a little bit hands-on, let's say. He's an older man, he's a little bit creepy. And then we see police sirens coming at him. He's like, so whenever you see police sirens, you make sure you hand motion, you're going to drive off to the side. Anyways, she drives in front of the police officer on the motorcycle, and then she lets go of the steering wheel. She looks off to the right. She's not looking where she's going, and she floors it to the point where I don't know how this car, but it torpedoes over top of like 3 other parked cars, and a bunch of people come around and be like, you guys okay? You guys okay? You just shot like 50 feet. Are you guys okay? It's at this moment, I think that the driving instructor's probably having some second thoughts about getting with this lady, because she almost killed him within about 5 minutes of leaving the parking lot. Then we see this nice Rolls Royce parked off on the side. And then we see this drunk going to sit down on a bench. And he kind of pulls a bottle out of his jacket and starts drinking because he's an alcoholic. And he's sitting on the bench staring at this Rolls Royce. And the kidnapper, the Roadrunner guy, has this device that he pulls out of his suitcase. And the Rolls Royce just turns on by itself. Not sure how. But anyways, the drunk's staring at it being like, oh man, I really gotta lay off the sauce because that car just started by itself and I don't know what's going on. And then the Rolls Royce owner, this lady walking her dog, comes up, the drunk being like, did you not just see this guy steal my car? Did you not see this guy steal my car? And he's like, I've been sitting on this bench on and off for the last year. I've seen a lot of weird things. The doors popped up on their own and the car turned on and I did not see anyone. So Novak is going to check the scrapyards, and as he's leaving the scrapyards, his theme music starts to play yet again, which I'm not gonna lie, is cheesy and silly, but I love it. It's almost like Shaft having his own music as soon as he's driving his car and he's looking all intense, being like, hey ladies, play my music. I'm assuming it's the same blonde out with a new instructor for a new lesson in the same day. And of course, we see some more police sirens coming towards her. So the instructor's like, stay right. And she just veers left into oncoming traffic. And next thing we know, we see this big ass moving truck with ramps. And the guys are taking out the packages, and she just goes right up the ramps and right through the whole damn truck and lands on a bunch of other parked cars. And she's like, so how'd I do? And then we see Novak trying to chase down the guy that stole the Rolls Royce and everything else. And of course, then Novak gets arrested and pulled over. And Novak's like, oh, come on, I'm on your side. Didn't Chief for Captain Hogan tell you at all? He's like, no? Okay, I guess I'm getting arrested again. And then we see the Roadrunner stealing another car. He's got his control system, and he's making a Cadillac turn on, reverse, and then start to drive out a parking spot. And then the guy at the dealership is waving the car off, and then he's looking over being like, wait, there's nobody in that car. How is that car driving with nobody in it? And then he's like, God damn it, somebody's stealing my goddamn car. Also, like, this feels like it's all happening in the exact same day, because I haven't seen, like, a night cycle at all. How many cars does this guy steal in one damn day? And where are they going? And now the Speedtrap song is playing. It's like the same ladies that do Novak's theme song. Anyways, the Cadillac goes down one side of this, like, ditch little waterway, and the cop car goes down the other pathway that the cop went down. It's a bunch of people, you know, just jogging, just enjoying the day, enjoying the weather, and pretty much all of them have to almost jump into the dirty looking water just so the cop doesn't run them over, because he's not trying to avoid them, he's just going straight. It's pretty much like, if I hit you, I hit you. And now they're going back the opposite way, so now the Cadillac is on the opposite side, and now everyone's like, man, I gotta get back inside the ditch again. We see one cop car go off into the canal, and now he's in 4 feet deep of water. And then this other cop car is chasing the Cadillac, and they go around this like chicken coop area, but the cop car literally slides right through this giant chicken coop, and we just see chickens going all over the place. And the CB radio is still on, so Hogan and the dispatcher just hear a bunch of chickens chirping all over the place, being like, well, that's not good. And then we cut to this abandoned looking airfield in the desert, and this plane's landing down, and this guy's standing outside of a Cadillac. But this Cadillac is black by the looks of it, and the Cadillac that was racing was green, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the same Cadillac or not. But anyways, the guy on the side of the Cadillac goes over to the plane, gets a bag, which I'm assuming is full of money. And then we just cut to Novik in the bar, and then Nifty comes and sits beside him. And she's like, so what's new with you? You know, other than getting arrested twice in the same day. He's like, well, you probably didn't hear about the Cadillac and the Rolls Royce now, did you? You know, this guy has a black box and somehow turns on the car even though he's not inside the car, and is able to control it. And I have no idea how he's doing that. And then we see Novik at home, and then the doorbell goes off, and we meet New Blossom. Apparently, New Blossom is Harry or Henry's, whoever's sister, and she's the psychic. She's like, yeah, I was told that you could use my help. And Novik's like, it's been a really long day, actually. I was kind of just going to go to bed and relax and go to sleep. She's like, I say that again? You know, that sounds like a really relaxing idea. Let's go. And then next thing you know, we see them in the shower together, having a fun time. So now I'm starting to wonder if such and such's sister is a psychic or a whore. I don't know which one it might be. Apparently she's just really easy to get with, I guess. And then after they're done in the shower, Novik's like, hey, what were you saying last night about the Roadrunner? She's like, well, I only saw one picture, like, in my mind. It was like a medallion, and, like, he doesn't always wear it, but he seems to wear it a lot. And I didn't see anything else, to be honest with you. So then we see this Loomis guy who's talking to Captain Hogan on the phone. Loomis is a very rich-looking guy by the sounds of it, and by the looks of it. He's got, like, a nice pool. He's got his super young wife, I'm assuming, tanning. And anyways, he's like, Hogan, just so you know, Francis is apparently his first name, the Christmas package arrived early last night, and the gifts had been, you know, sent out to the rightful homes, whatever that might mean. So then we have Novak showing up to his buddy's garage. He's like, so why'd you call me here? And he's like, so this weird guy kind of called a couple minutes ago saying he was a Roadrunner and said he would only want to speak to you. You know, who knows if it's the actual real Roadrunner or not? There's a lot of freaks out there right now. So when we see that exact same plane landing on that desert runway again, same car shows up, guy gets out, and I'm assuming this is Wino, maybe? I'm not really too sure. He's the guy that works with Loomis, that's all I know. Anyways, he's grabbing the same bag again, same package again, you know, probably a bag full of money or drugs, one of the two. And then we see the guy that picked up the bag. He's taken it to the airport. He's in the airport garage or parking lot. And he's taking his notepad, writing down the B parking spot and the plate number. And then he's putting it in the package inside the airport, inside one of the locker systems. And it's clearly a deal of some sort that happens. Some sort of special arrangement or exchange. But then while he's inside, we see the Roadrunner guy is outside with his black box in his hand, and he's actually unlocking the same car that he used, the black Cadillac that the guy showed up with to drop off the bag, and now he's driving away with his car. We see the owner of the car who's still in the airport. He goes into the washroom. He clearly exchanges the locker key with this other guy that comes out and goes straight to the locker system and picks up the bag, and it has the note inside of it that tells him which parking spot to go get the car. But clearly the car is not going to be there. So then we see the guy staying out there in the parking lot, looking around, be like, well, I'm in the B section, and there's no car. So then he runs back to the airport, and then we hear the phone ringing, and it's Loomis. He's like, what do you mean the car's gone? Are you nuts? It's definitely there somewhere. Well, you're just not looking right. So then Loomis calls Hogan and be like, hey, we got some issues. Somebody stole one of my cars. He's like, now you see my issue. I'll put you on the preferred list so you get yours back sooner. And Lou was like, if I wanted to buy a comedian, I would have instead of buying a police officer. So how about you stop being a jokester there, Captain? Loomis is like, you need to find that Lincoln. You need to personally find it and drive it to my door right now before it goes anywhere else. And then we see Novik going back to Billy's garage, and I believe this scene is actually in GTA 3 because we see Billy underneath his like doom buggy looking car working on it, and it's like the same scene that we see in GTA 3. So if you guys are GTA 3 fans, it's probably within the first half hour of the game. So. And then the phone rings, and Billy picks it up, and then Novik goes to pick up the secondary line to listen in on the call. And whoever's on the other line of this call being like, hey, you want to go pick up a Lincoln? It's in this back alleyway, and it'll get you a lot of money. And then Billy's like, who are you? Are you the Roadrunner? And the guy just laughs and hangs up the phone. It's now the first time that this movie's ever been at nighttime. So I'm assuming the Roadrunner guy stole like 3 cars in one day, but that's besides the point. Anyways, they show up to where the Lincoln is, and they're like, I better stake out the area a little bit to make sure it's not a setup. Glad I got my trusty flashlight to look around. And as Novik's looking with his flashlight, it's giving off like no light, so I'm just assuming how it's shot back in the 70s. But he's looking around, he's being like, alright, the trunk's kind of jarred open a little bit. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but it's empty, so let's just take the car. So Novak doesn't have the special gadget that the Roadrunner has, so he has to hotwire the car. As soon as he hotwires the car and gets it running, Billy's like, hey, there's someone coming from behind the transport back in the alleyway there. So then we have another car chase getting ready to set off, and then as Novak's starting to speed away, a bunch of guys come out of this other, I think it's a Cadillac, and just start shooting at him. I feel like I keep calling him Novak and it's Novik, but if I do, just know it's just me being an idiot. And I'm going to leave this editing part in, just so you guys are aware. So we see Novik driving this Lincoln, and this other car is like side by side, and this Novik's on this like upper ramp, and he just torpedoes the car down on the other car, and it's not like landing on top of him, but for some reason the car just sets on fire. Novik runs out of it, and then we see both cars are on fire, but we don't see anyone else get out of the other car, so I'm assuming they're just going to burn alive inside of it. And we see Novik walking down this alleyway, and this other car shows up, and these 2 guys get out of it. He's like, hey guys, I got nothing for you to steal. I don't want any trouble. And they come after him, and he just starts beating them up. And within like seconds, they're knocked out on the ground, up against the wall. And he just runs away. Anyways, he's running down the sidewalk, and he hides behind a flower bush. He's like, why is there never a cop around when you need one? And then we see these guys that are coming after him. And they get sidetracked by a prostitute that's on the sidewalk. And then they just kind of venture out, be like, she said she didn't see nobody come by her, so might as well believe her. And then the pimp shows up, and it's this black guy. And apparently his name is Voodoo, and apparently him and Novik are friends. So he asks for a buddy to use his car, so he can kind of get out of the area for now. So then we go to this random house where this giant party's happening, and Novik is looking for Nifty, and he finds her, and she's pretty drunk. Anyways, he takes her out to the side outside on this little patio area. He's like, I don't know who else to talk to. I just need to tell you about my day and how everything's going. And I don't know who to trust, to be honest with you. He's like, I can't find any information on the street about what's going on. I've had 2 separate sets of people try to take me out. One set's dead. Their set's still out there looking for me, and I have no idea what's going on at all. And Nifty's like, oh wow, that's quite the day, huh? And then we find out that apparently Nifty's stepfather is Captain Hogan. And Novik's like, oh, really, is it? Oh, wow, this is going to get pretty interesting then, huh? We also find out that Nifty's father was shot by an unknown gunman in a park. And things are sounding very, very strange, I guess you could say. Very suspicious. So that's why Nifty came down to this area and left San Francisco, because she was hoping to get inside the police force and figure out why her father was murdered, because apparently nobody else has answers for her. So Nifty also knows something about the Lincoln. Apparently, the Lincoln was registered to Spolano and not Loomis. So maybe Loomis is the guy on the sidewalk that was trying to chase down Novik and then got distracted by the prostitute. I'm assuming that's who Loomis is. So maybe I got Spolano and Loomis mixed up. That happens because the IMDb pictures they're all pretty freaking out. Not gonna lie. But Spolano is actually played by Robert Loggia, who's best known for playing Frank Lopez in 1983's Scarface, as well as Macmillan in 1988's Big with Tom Hanks. Anyways, then Novik's getting ready to leave. And of course, I believe it's probably Loomis is sitting in the back of his car waiting for him. So Loomis is taking Novik to Spolano so they can have a little discussion. And Spolano's in the library of his big fancy home. And Spolano's like, so, Mr. Novik, before you stole my Lincoln, there's a bag inside the car with a lot of heroin actually in it. And I need it back now. He's like, well, I don't have it. It must have blew up in the car then. I don't know what you want me to do. So Novik's like, Spolano, I didn't know there was any heroin in the car at all. And Spolano's like, yeah, keyword was, huh? And he's like, well, it wasn't there when you took the car, so maybe that Roadrunner guy who originally copped the car has the heroin, so maybe we can do some business. And Novik's like, nah. I don't do any work with drug pushers at all. Also, Loomis came at Novik at this point in time, and Novik drops him to the ground at one point. It's now early in the morning, and the phone rings, and it's New Blossom being like, hey, Billy, just want me to let you know that we parked your car behind the place. And he's like, is that why you're calling me? He's like, actually, I got really relaxed last night, and I saw there's some writing on the medallion, too. Does that help at all? And Novik just laughs. Like, who the hell knows? I don't know what you're even talking about. I haven't seen no medallion. So then we just see Novik driving his car, and then on the CB radio, we have alert coming in because the Roadrunner stole their car. And it just happens to be that car is driving right by Novik at the point in time when the operator is talking about it. So then we have another car chase happening. And I believe the operator said that the Roadrunner guy stole a Dodge 240C. It looks like a very interesting car. I've never seen one of these before at all, and I could have the name completely wrong for all I know. But it's also hard to discuss how you see a car chase scene happening, but it's a pretty interesting shot at least. Novik was keeping up with the Roadrunner pretty well until he came around a corner and somehow blew out his back tire and crashed for a little kiosk stand. He's like, god damn it. So then we see the car being towed to Billy's garage, and Novik's like, how long can you will it take you to repair my car? Met him at the fairgrounds. This is what happened to my car. Also, I'm going to need a new set of wheels while I'm waiting. And Bill's like, I got you set up. And he sets him up with this old school town car, which is apparently fitting because apparently Novik's driving through town and there's this whole group of old town cars that are just on the side. Like, by old, I mean like these look like they're from the Waltons, if you remember the Waltons TV show. So it's like a mixture of like an old car show and like a farmer's market kind of setup thing going on, because we see a bunch of crowd people walking through, and then we also see the Roadrunner showing up with his black box, getting ready to steal one of the vehicles here. And Novik is slowly starting to catch on because he kind of sees someone lurking around. So then we see the Roadrunner get in his car, and then we see this old guy getting out of a Corvette. And Novik's like, hey, I gotta take your car. It's official police business. Here's my card. And of course, it's the Burger Pit Delight card again. And then we just see him chasing the Roadrunner guy in this stolen Corvette now that he just stole from some old guy. You see the Roadrunner and Novik running through this like park area. A couple people fall into this water fountain, and the cops radio, and he's like, I got these funny people driving through the park, you better send some backup. So then the cop goes through the park, and as these people are getting out of the water fountain, they fall back into the water fountain so they don't get ran over. And then we see this old-timey motorcycle race happening on this dirt track, like a dirt bike track. And then the Roadrunner takes his car out on the track, and then we hear the guy on the announcer team be like, oh, well, guys, there's now a car on the track. Everyone be careful because this car is now doing laps. And then Novik drives the Corvette onto the racetrack, and then two police cars are following behind him. And the announcer is talking the whole time, telling everyone what's happening, and then he's being like, can someone please let me know what's happening? Now we see the Mercedes, which is driven by the Roadrunner, driving off the track, followed by the Corvette in Novik. And then the announcer's like, wait guys, the cops are blocking the exit. Could this by chance be the Roadrunner guys? Could this be the Roadrunner? And then we see the Roadrunner take the Mercedes and literally jump over the 2 cop cars that are blocking the entrance. We see them all get off the racetrack, and now the cops are trying their best to block the roads, but somehow there's a 4-car cop car pile up because they're just silly cops. And then we see the Roadrunner going into this elevated parking garage where, it goes up a couple different floors. He literally takes the car to the top floor and does like a GTA stunt jump because he literally drives the car off the roof through a part of the cement and lands on the next roof across. And Novik's like, I ain't doing that. So he gets out of his car and he sees the Roadrunner getting out of the Mercedes and running to the stairwell. So then he starts shooting at him and be like, ah, damn, I missed him. So then we see Novik getting out of the parking garage and he's talking to the cops on the other side of the road being like, he made that jump, he's inside this abandoned building somewhere. So then we see all the cops just rushing into the building. A couple of them are going up the elevator, a couple of them using the stairs, and the cops are all running around trying to find the Roadrunner, and they're bumping into each other at the same time. And somehow the Roadrunner escapes them and runs back outside, and he runs over to the Corvette that Novik was driving. Apparently Novik must have kept the keys with him because the Roadrunner has to use his computer system to hack into the car. And then we see Novik stealing yet another car. At least every time Novik steals a car, he's stealing a car that already had the door open. So I guess, it's kind of okay. Not really, but it is what it is. So anyways, we see Novik driving his car out of this alleyway, chasing after the Roadrunner. He gets T-boned by a station wagon. So then Novik's like, hey, everybody all right? And then the police show up, and then he jumps into the cop car being like, hey, you go take a look at them. I think they're hurt. Go make sure they're okay. And the police officer doesn't even realize Novik's taking his car until Novik's already down the road. We see Novik chasing down the Speedrunner in the Corvette, and then he finally gets the Corvette crashed off on this dusty dirt road, and there's a slow-mo shot of Novik running after the Speedrunner and then tackling him to the ground. Speedrunner, Roadrunner, whatever it is. Anyways, he rips off the mask off the Roadrunner, and we find out it was Nifty the whole time. So then we see Novik driving the police car with Nifty inside of it now. And she's kind of just discussing everything that happened. She's discussing like the black box that she has. And it's like an automatic car opener and starter and all that other fun stuff. And Novik's like, wow, in the wrong hands. That could be a really bad problem. So Novik's like, so where's all those cars you've been stealing? Like, are you sending them to Mexico? And she smiles and calls up close to them as they're driving. She's like, nah, they're all safe. They're here in town. Don't worry about it. So now it's nighttime and we see Novik and Nifty showing up at Billy's garage. And New Blossom's like, it's you. It's her. It's the medallions person. The thing I've been seeing. So then we see Novik and Nifty getting into his car. And they're driving to the warehouse where I'm assuming all the other cars are stashed. But as they're leaving the garage, we also see Hogan has been stashed out on the side of the road waiting for them to show up. And then we find out Nifty's got all the cars stashed right underneath Hogan's nose, because by the sounds of it, Hogan's the one that owns the warehouse that the cars are all stashed inside of. So they get inside the warehouse, and Nifty's like, see any cars you like? He's like, yeah, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. He's like, hey, where you got the heroin stash? She's like, the Rolls Royce, silly. And then they hear another door shut, and he's like, you expecting company by chance? And so then they go to hide, and Hogan walks, and he's like, I know you guys are in here. And then Hogan's looking around the warehouse, like, you son of a bastards, you got the damn cars hiding in my own goddamn building. And Novik shows us out. He's like, got the Roadrunner, got all these cars, big bonus for me. As for the drugs, though, that's a different conversation, and I'm not giving those because I don't need a lot of people on the streets being all drugged up. And then we see Hogan and Novik getting in a fight, tussling all over the cars. Hogan's got a gun, but Novik's a little bit stronger than him because, Hogan's an older gentleman. We see Hogan get knocked out, and then we just see Novik grab him by the ankles and like dragging him over to the Rolls Royce to put him in. Be like, is there a phone in here or anything? Like, can we call the cops to come pick him up? Actually, probably having him show up at the warehouse and with all the stolen cars inside here, probably not the best idea. Nifty goes to get the black box so they can turn on the Rolls Royce, and we see Novik get in. He's laughing because I just turned on with a click of a button. So then they get ready to leave the warehouse when they got the big bay door open. And then Nifty's like, somebody's coming. Because on the radio, we heard the dispatcher talking about the situation. And, of course, listening was Spillano and Loomis. He was like, they probably have my drugs. So then we see Hogan leaving the back of the Rolls Royce. And out of nowhere, Loomis just shoots him right in the head. And Spillano's like, why'd you do that? He's like, he stuck his head out. I don't know what you want me to tell you, boss. So now we're having this standoff, this gunfight. And Spillano's like, hey, Loomis, you get into the warehouse. I'll cover you. So Loomis goes to run into the warehouse and gets literally shot once and dropped dead by Novick. Or at least it looks like he's dead. So then Spillano's like, I'm going to get in my car and drive away. So then Novick and Nifty shoot him at the same time, and Spillano's acting is really bad because he acts like he's having like a back spasm and making all these weird gestures, and then he just like floors the car, crashes it, and it blows up in flames. And then we hear the police sirens roaring, and Novick, I don't know why I call him Pete for once, that's his first name in the movie. Novick's like, hey, Nifty, you head off, just wait for me, and I'm gonna, cover for you, because nobody knows that she's the Roadrunner. And the police show up and he's like, Spillano's dead over there, your police chief Hogan's dead in there by a gunshot, and that's Loomis over there, he's dead too, so good luck with dealing with those guys. So then we see Nifty and Novick sitting in the diner together, and he's like, you're clear, nobody's gonna be able to tie you to the Roadrunner other than me. He's like, how about we take this black box, so go around the world, maybe Abu Dhabi, wherever you want to go. And then they start making out, and the end of the movie starts to roll, the credits start to roll, and the Novick theme song starts to play again, and that's the end of the movie as the outro credits start to roll. And I thought this was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. It's got some good car chases and some good car damage. I don't know. I'm in a 70s movie feel. Like, I enjoy watching these old movies and seeing how much time and effort must have went into making them. Because, a lot of these, you only get one or two shots because God knows how many copies of the car they had. And they wouldn't be able to, destroy too many of them because, if you destroy a car the wrong way, you don't get the footage the right way, you might not have another shot at it. So it's pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty good, and it reminds me a lot of Gone in 60 Seconds for sure. 100%. The whole theme of the movie is the same as Gone in 60 Seconds. So, and there's a couple shots that remind me of GTA as well, like GTA 3 for the story missions and whatnot. So I thought it was really interesting. On the Rotten scale of 10, I'm going to give this one a 7. I think if you like car chase movies and action movies like that, you should definitely watch this one. It was definitely a fun one to watch. Which brings us to a point in time where we got to pick what we're going to be watching next week. You know what? Let's stay with the action movies. Let's watch a movie from the 90s, though. It's an hour and 30 minutes. You can watch it for free on Tubi, of course, because, we love Tubi. And it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. We're going to watch Death Warrant from 1990. Description as read on Tubi. An undercover cop posing as an inmate in a dangerously corrupt prison uncovers the ghoulish secrets behind a string of ritualistic cell block murderers. I think this one's going to be a fun one. I'm sure I've probably seen it at some point in time. I just don't recall it at all. I know I said that for high roll in a couple episodes, or just actually last episode. And, I'm sure it's going to be a fun one. Hopefully you guys will check it out. We always have some fun watching some action movies. And then probably after this action movie, we'll probably get back into the horror movies for a little bit. And we'll just keep rotating it out. Just having fun with it, because at the Rotten Reviews podcast, we can watch whatever movies we want. So, if you guys have any suggestions for a movie I should review, let me know down in the comments below on the YouTube page, Instagram, wherever. Send me a DM, Discord me. I mean, if you can find me on Discord, I don't use it too often, but it's there at least. But with that being said, we're going to end this episode here. Make sure to check out the outro band, Trial-Based Horror Band, Blood Opera. You can find all their links down below. Check them out on Spotify and SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those things. Follow them on any music platform that you use. And as always, make sure to check out all my links down below as well. At Typhon Sign, links are down below, like I said. But you can find me on X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, but the main thing is that YouTube channel, so definitely go check out the YouTube channel where we've got the weekly gaming video
every single Wednesday, and I do live streams over there as well. Tons of hours of free content over there. So until next time, talk to you guys all later. Peace!